Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Brandon here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Salah, and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Salah, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good as well. Thanks for asking. I'm actually really excited to talk to you about this business you've created. But before we get into the details, let's give a general overview. So it is an Amazon FBA business in the baby care, kitchenware, outdoors, and health and fitness niches. And it was created in March 2017, making an average monthly revenue of $54,239 and makes an average of $13,626 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit the empireflippers.com/marketplace URL to search for listing 52332 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, what's included in the sale is the Amazon Seller Central account and 23 SKUs, 4 domains and all of their sites' content and files, 4 trademarks, supplier contacts, and it is worth noting that inventory is not normally included in the list price, and further details can be provided to active buyers. So, Salah, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. So I started in this business actually as a side gig, and it was at a time in my full-time career where I was thinking that it might be nice to maybe transition my lifestyle a bit, and the idea working with an Amazon business was very appealing to me because I knew some people who were selling on Amazon. They didn't have regular jobs. They just, did Amazon, and they had a lot of flexibility to spend time with their family and pursue their hobbies, which sounded really good to me because I wasn't particularly happy with my job and I didn't really like my boss at the time. And I actually got into this by taking over some products from a friend. So I started selling a few products about 3 years ago, and it turned out to be a pretty good experience. I liked it, but at the same time, my career actually got better. My regular career got better, so I ended up not spending that much time with it. But I wanted to grow the business over time, so I added products over time. And yeah, as you said, I've got 4 brands now, 4 trademarks. Actually, there are 6 brands because there are 2 that I've just recently applied for trademarks for. So actually it's 6 brands that would be included, although 4 of them are fully trademarked.
Okay. Are you in the process of getting the other 2 brands trademarked, or is that something that a potential buyer can be looking forward to as a growth opportunity?
Yeah, no, these are 2 brands with products that I'm selling, and I've already applied. So yeah, as soon as those trademarks are done, I would just transfer them as part of the sale.
Okay. Wow, that's really great to hear. Now, what was it about the niches that you're selling in currently that you found as great potential? Was there something with those original products you had launched that you saw, okay, maybe these niches are really where the future is going with Amazon FBA?
To be honest, because I was dabbling in Amazon FBA rather than really jumping in, I was looking for really low risk types of products that I felt would be consistent sellers, ones that had good margins and wouldn't require a huge inventory investment, and ones that I didn't feel were overly competitive, and so I could count on stable sales and also seasonality. I wanted to make sure that I can see sales consistently every single month, just so I can rest well and not worry that, get ready for a big upcoming season. It's a different kind of business that I wanted to run, something that's much steadier, more predictable. So I came up with a portfolio of products that generates, sales and profits every month. And, I've got different types of products in slightly different categories that I feel are complementary to each other. And as a result, I have a nice cash flow profile over the course of the year. And they've been consistent performers. I expect that to continue.
Yeah, that's very apparent looking at the analytics and the numbers for the business as well. And, if the business is doing so great at this time, Salah, why is it you've decided you'd like to sell it at the current time?
I originally got into this because I wanted to really go kind of big into Amazon FBA and e-commerce in general. I was planning to make really a career switch into it, but my personal circumstances have not turned out the way I expected. I got a new boss, slightly different job, much, much happier with my kind of day job in my career. And I'm no longer as interested in doing that. So it's just a side business now that I spend very little time on. So it makes sense for it to be with someone who spend a bit more time with it. And yeah, it's been, I think, a good experience for me. I think a good part of somebody else's portfolio or a starter FBA business or part of a bigger business. Either way, these are consistent performers and nice little business. But I'm just not putting in the time to grow the business at all. So it doesn't, in my book, that means I'm really not the right owner for this business anymore.
Okay, yeah, I completely understand. It's wanting to pass the baton on to someone who's going to put in more effort or more time and resources into seeing the business succeed to the level that it's capable of. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Now, was there anything that you learned while growing this business that you plan on applying to maybe future projects or businesses down the road?
Yeah, I think coming up with ways to sort of automate tasks as much as possible has been a big reason that it's something that I've been able to do really on the side with minimal time over the last couple of years. So there are lots of tools out there that help automate things, getting a reliable VA and getting that help that it can really run itself. That has been quite important. So I think that's been a lesson for me. If I want to build a business, I have to make sure that I don't spend my time running the business, but rather leave the details to someone else so that I can think about how to grow the business.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And, on the flip side of that, was there anything that you tried with this business and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried different things. I tried a couple of products that didn't really stick. I haven't really cracked PPC advertising. It's something that I haven't really spent much time on. I think that's an opportunity, to really figure that out. It's not something that I really dug into in great detail. I think there are probably some things that I could have learned, but also the whole process of launching products is changing all the time. I think if I had to do it again, I would have been more consistently launching new products to see what's working. I've launched a number of products and I've, brought them into the portfolio over time. But had I spent more time, I would have been more aggressive. And I think that would have been a good approach because I think with Amazon, it's a bit of a numbers game to see what's going to work, what's going to stick, and then, let the winners run.
Okay. So would you say then the majority of your traffic is coming from organic search within Amazon? So are you running any type of PPC ads, maybe even for like a product launch and then tapering that off at, over time? Or, what is your approach as far as gaining traffic or what has been the primary source?
It's definitely a combination. I don't think you can really run a business on Amazon for that long without eventually needing to invest in PPC. Pretty much a relatively competitive marketplace where people will pick off your keywords, even if they have a product that's not directly relevant to the keywords, they'll still pick off some of your traffic. So you really have to advertise. So I do advertise, and so I'll have a fair amount of traffic from PPC advertisements, but then also there's a lot of organic traffic. I just try to manage it so that the overall cost of advertising is quite manageable. And as long as I stay within kind of the guidelines that I've sort of mentally set for myself, I'm happy. As long as it's generating profits every month, I'm happy. I haven't gotten into really overly managing or engineering the individual campaigns. I've taken more of a set it and forget it approach.
Okay. Yeah, that's something a potential buyer could come in and maybe even focus on further to optimizing those campaigns and really discovering what your target audience is going for and increasing their traffic that way as well. And that's a great opportunity for them to explore. Now, I noticed within your listing, you also have 4 domains and a few sites for the businesses. I'm assuming those are for the individual brands. Are you doing anything in terms of marketing on those websites or maybe even through general, maybe promotional type things on Google or anything outside of Amazon itself?
To be honest, I haven't done anything with them. I pretty much just have the domains. A couple of them have kind of like holding pages set up when I've needed them for just various reasons. When I've needed to have the brand on a site to refer to, but I've never actually used it for selling or for building a customer database. I've thought of doing that, and there are lots of ways to do that to get customers to sign up to newsletters or to get the freebies. And then you have, a pool of direct customers that you can either communicate with or sell to or learn things from. But I just haven't really done that. So yeah, I've just been kind of sitting on the domains, to be honest.
Okay. I understand. It's difficult to do everything that we want all at the same time. So I completely understand that as well. And another great opportunity for a buyer that might have that core skill set of building the marketing funnels outside of Amazon. They could totally utilize that channel as well. Now, hypothetically speaking, so if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways that you would personally try and grow it?
How would I grow the business? Well, I have a couple of brands that I'm selling on, but I'm not doing much with. So I want to really incubate those. I have a lot of good sellers in the mix, and a number of these products would lend themselves to kind of variations, do a slightly different version of it. Could be different colors or different sizes or different pack sizes, which I found is quite effective. So that would be really low risk growth that I would probably go for. And then I have some, I have like a family of, one of the brands in particular is a family of products that are quite complementary. And there could be a number of other additional products that would fit nicely within that brand portfolio and to make it more complete brand. And I've added products successfully to that brand in the past, and I would keep doing that. There are lots in that particular category. There are lots of additional products that would fit nicely under that brand, and I think would do well.
Okay, yeah, it's really great to hear that you already have the projection for future inventory needs or maybe even some potential products to be launched. Now, could you describe kind of the typical work process or maybe even, some of the tasks that you're doing on a weekly or daily basis, how you're getting inventory, from your suppliers into Amazon and things of that nature?
Sure. So everything that I'm selling is FBA. So I keep the stock at Amazon. And basically, I have an assistant who keeps an eye on inventory levels and that sort of pre-agreed levels. When we reach those levels, that person will communicate with the suppliers for reorders and set it all up for me. I'll just approve the final order once it's ready. And that's pretty much what I do. That's, I don't spend a whole lot of time on the business at the moment. And then there could be, troubleshooting that comes up from time to time. Inevitably on Amazon, you'll have a glitch that will happen from time to time. And you have to deal with Amazon, call them or email them. So yeah, mostly it's just approving payments to the suppliers and just troubleshooting as and when it's necessary.
Okay, I understand. And will this assistant be continuing on with the new owner, or will they be continuing on with you after the deal?
I would think that the assistant would go along with the new owner if the new owner wants the support and this person's quite capable and this is kind of a full-time job there. Not just this. I think the assistant has other jobs as well. I don't think they're full-time just for me, but I'm sure they'd be happy to continue on. That wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, that's good to hear. And then do you feel like there's a particular skill set that a buyer should have prior to acquiring this business? Or could most of the workload be learned or maybe even figured out during the transition period, having the assistant coming along and helping with them as well?
Yeah, I think this is a quite easy business to step into. I mean, obviously, I'd help the person just kind of, if the buyer doesn't have already experience with Amazon, just to get them up to speed on what they need to know. But it's quite an easy business, I would say, to run. I think you just have to, since I have very established products with good reviews and with lots of reviews, that gives you a certain, credibility and kind of a protective moat on Amazon. So it's quite I would say, stable business, which is good. You can expect a certain level of sales consistently, and then just keep an eye on the inventory. So I can talk to the buyer about what levels of inventory I've used, and even though I've set levels that I think are reasonable, I haven't been very good at tracking the inventory to make sure that I actually reorder at the levels that I thought would be required. So I do run out of stock, which is kind of silly of me, but that does happen. But I can talk to the person about how to avoid that. And yeah, with the VA who's involved, I'm sure it would be quite a smooth transition into the business.
Yeah, it's an important thing to bring up. It's making sure you're staying on top of your inventory levels and not running out of stock is usually one of the biggest problems, I would say, within the Amazon FBA business model on keeping track of. Now, what do you feel are maybe some of the potential risks associated with this business model that a buyer should be aware of?
I think on Amazon, it's just an active market and there are loads of, alternatives for pretty much any product always coming on there. So I think it's good just to keep an eye on what the trends are. If you see something that could be a potential competitor to your product, to consider adapting your product, more directly addressing the threat, or launching additional products. The nice thing is once you have an account that's in good standing and you know how to order and you know how to work with suppliers, then launching additional products is, I'd say, a relatively straightforward process. Obviously, there's a little investment that's required. There's a certain amount of investment, and you have to be aware of that, which I can explain, but it's a straightforward process to introduce new products. So I think it's the good and the bad of Amazon. The bad is that you can have competitors come right after your product. There are different ways that you can compete with them by improving your product, by advertising, by making your product more valuable, enhancing it. So that's the bad. But then the good is you can equally go after everybody else's product, and there's so many products out there. So it's pretty straightforward to grow an Amazon business. It just requires the time and the willingness to do it.
Absolutely. And, already establishing some trademarks for your products as well, you are ultimately setting up that moat around your business and making it harder for competitors to really compete with your brand, having that presence already.
Yeah. I should have said, Brandon, that's actually true. That was something that I learned early on because I started by taking over some products, from somebody who just had products selling in Amazon. They weren't trademarked in any way. And I didn't realize what that meant at the time. I went in naively thinking that, okay, I have these brands, right? So I can sell these products. If you don't have a trademark, then anybody can jump on your listing on Amazon. And that was a big pain, and it was a big time sink at the time, which is why now I'd say 95% of my sales are under trademarks, which is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that. And, it would learn as we go, but, having that foundation and setting that up for a potential buyer to come in and scale this business further now, they already have that established brand and also the trademarks to go with it. So that's always great to see. Salah, are you willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning any future or current projects you're in, you'll stay out of this specific niche?
Sure, no problem.
Got it. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
I think, I would want the buyer to be successful with the business. So, I would be happy to help out. Yeah. I think it depends on the person and it depends on the individual. Some people are very, very experienced and they don't need that much help, and other people would need more support and training. And that's what I had when I started in this. I had a lot of support, which is really, really helpful. And I'd be happy to provide, almost like training on the business. That's something that would be of interest.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And I'm sure our potential buyers out there are listening to this call, they can also see the value in that added support and you wanting to see the business succeed even after the deal is done. So that's really great to see. Now, Salah, are you open to negotiating something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal, say over a couple months after that?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's great. And then just a few sideline questions for you. So what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
Well, the trademarks was an important one. Boring, but important. And I think the lifestyle is quite attractive. The lifestyle of kind of, working for yourself or working from home is quite attractive, or from wherever you want to work. But, if you want to really go for it, I've been able to grow this business, I'd say, reasonably well over a couple of years. And I'm, quite happy with the financial performance. But I know that I could have made it probably 10x the size if I had really gone for it and invested the time. So I think it depends on the person. If you're expecting a kind of a financial home run, you should invest a bit more time and go for it. For me, that didn't really work for me with my family situation. But, I don't think anything really valuable comes without a bit of time and sweat put into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really solid advice. The more effort you put into these businesses and time, I guess ultimately you could scale it, exponentially from there, having invested that up front, I guess, and ultimately. Now, was there any software or maybe tools that really helped you, to manage or maybe even grow this business at the start?
I think at the start I dabbled with a couple of different things, but there are a couple of software subscriptions that I have that I use now. And I'm sure there are other ones out there that are perfectly good, but I like the ones that I've selected. One is more on the reporting side, just to make it really, really simple and crisp and take zero time to see performance and inventory and all of that. And then the other just to manage kind of customer feedback.
Okay. Are these tools like similar to like Jungle Scout or something along those lines?
Yeah, like tools that you could, just do a subscription with a company. And I'm sure that the owner could easily subscribe to it if they wish.
Okay, gotcha. That's really great insight, and utilizing some of these projection or maybe even management software tools is also really great to really help you to limit the time you're actually spending on the business and making sure that you're focusing more on growth opportunities. Now, final question for you, Salah. So putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think that your business is worth buying?
If I were in the market to buy right now, I mean, it's got to be for the right kind of buyer. This business is just a very safe cash flow business. Doesn't require a lot of inventory, a steady performer, and it's a good solid base to grow from. If someone wants like a good base business and, with good reviews, good brands, an accountant, great standing with Amazon, it's a really solid platform to introduce additional brands, to introduce additional products, and pretty much do whatever you want to do on Amazon. So financially, it would be good. I think you'd get a good return on this, very good return on investment just with this, plus it's a platform for growth. I think that's probably the right profile of buyer, someone who's looking for that. What I don't have are products that are all going to grow, massively. They're not going to double every year. They're going to grow nicely every year, but they're not going to double. I'm talking about the products that are already on there. They're going to grow kind of, with Amazon or a bit faster if someone spends a bit of time on optimizing PPC. So yeah, that's how I think about it. This is really a good, I would say, platform to get going on Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. The foundation you've already established for potential buyers is really great to see. And, obviously it shows in, the number of SKUs you currently have, as well as the projections you have and some of the future ideas you have for the business, which I'm sure can also help the buyer scale the business further. And that pretty much wraps up this call, Salah. So was there anything else that you'd like to add that I might have missed?
No, I think you covered a lot of different things that I hadn't thought about. So yeah, thanks for that, Brandon.
Yeah, not a problem at all. That's what I enjoy most about these calls is really digging deeper and kind of hearing your story and, kind of where you've grown the business up to today. And yeah, it's really awesome to see your business and what you've established here. And I'm sure all of our listeners and buyers out there are also going to be eager to get their hands on something to this quality as well, too.
Okay, great.
Cool. Well, thanks again. And looking forward to getting this listing sold for you here in the near future.
Okay, thanks, Brandon.
Take care. And all right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 52332. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.